Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the RMTV Women's Podcast. This is episode 120. Just me and Amy again this week. No guests. Hopefully, we'll have a few guests lined up in the next couple of podcasts. Get some more faces on the channel. But you've just got us two today. Amy, how are we today?
All good in the hood. What about you?
Yeah, I mean,
it's just another day, isn't it?
Every day's the same. So
I genuinely feel like I've been on the same day for like a year.
Yeah, everything just sort of repeats itself, doesn't it? So, But we're here to bring you a little bit of, I don't know, something nice. Depends how you look at it. Depends what the topic we're discussing. Depends how we're feeling about women's football on the day that we talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll start off with obviously no Liverpool game this weekend. Several fixtures were obviously postponed due to it being absolutely freezing. Basically, every pitch was pretty much frozen.
Baltic this weekend.
Honestly, like today feels like a summer's day because it's amazing.
Yesterday, I was like, I could be out here in shorts and a t-shirt. I wasn't going to, but I was like, it's definitely temperature-wise. I feel like I'm on holiday.
I think it's like highs of like 6 or something. I'm like, oh my god, it's 6 degrees.
Literally, where in reality, it's still very cold.
But in reality,
not as cold as it was.
Yeah, it's like it's 6 degrees, but feels like -4, and you're like, okay, sounds about right.
It was so cold. Like my face was just raw with like coldness because the wind just kept like.
You don't need Botox. You just go in the wind.
And I was like, I literally could not speak. I got in. I was like, no one talk to me. I'm really cold.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, I need a second to warm up.
Yeah, but obviously, Liverpool game postponed. It's kind of frustrating how stop-start women's football is at the minute.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know how many games have we played since the new year. 2. I want to say 2. Leicester and Charlton. Because obviously, one game got postponed.
London Bees got cancelled.
And then obviously Coventry at the weekend due to frozen pitch. So 2 games since the start of the year, and it's the 16th of February. It obviously isn't ideal.
Not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the only team going through it, but it kind of almost feels like, I don't know, I don't like to say I'm losing interest because obviously I'm very much interested in what's going to happen, but it kind of just makes you be like, oh, for God's sake, like, okay.
You can't get into a routine with it, can you? Like,
yeah. And I think it's like also because there's not many fixtures going up until the end of the season anyway. It's every like 2 weeks or something now or whatever. So
yeah, would you rather they just had it like every week? Obviously, they can't, can they? Because of like I think it's worse because we're not in any competitions as well. So there's not any of those gaps filled.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's almost just like I want to know the outcome of the season now because like I just want to know what happens.
Yeah.
Because everything's so up in the air. I mean, we had a big discussion about it last week in terms of like us and relegation and whatnot, so we won't like dive into
relegation.
Yeah, not going up.
Don't say that word again.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
My god. No.
Don't ever say that word again.
Relegation. Definitely not relegation. Promotion. I meant promotion.
God, but yeah, you always scared me then.
I was like, where's relegation come from? Anyway, yeah, so like we had a big discussion about promotion and stuff like that, so we won't go into it, but you kind of just almost want to know what happens now.
I think we kind of sort of know we're going to finish around, hopefully, the top side of the table. I just don't want to be like 5th or like, I don't even want to be 4th. Like I definitely want to be like within the top 3. Whether that's going to happen, I don't know. But when I was looking at the table this morning, we are actually like quite. I don't know if it was Sheffield or Durham. I think it might have been Sheffield that are just above us in the table. They've played 15 and we've only played 13. So that's potentially 9 points closing the gap on 3rd place. So. Those games are still to play on it because obviously 2 got postponed. But I know what you mean. Like you just want to know now, like how it does feel like, although this season hasn't been that long, it's gone on for a really long time.
Yeah.
It's like a strange sort of understanding of like the relevance of time. Like I have no concept of time throughout this whole pandemic. Like
Honestly.
January usually is like a drag, but for me it went so quickly. And like
Yeah.
February, it's like the 15th, 16th today. It's ridiculous how quick things are going.
Yeah.
But yet the season's felt like it's been on for ages. Probably because we're still in lockdown, and we started off the season in lockdown and we're still in lockdown, so it's weird.
Probably, like, I remember it, but I get what you mean in terms of, like, it feels like it's gone on forever, but also I feel like the Durham opener was only like 2 weeks ago. Like, I feel like that's just happened, and I feel like there's still a whole season to go. But then in my head, I panic because I know there isn't, and I know there might not be enough time for us to sort of get ourselves together. So that's what I kind of hate about it. So that's why I'm kind of just like, I want it to be over, because I don't want to go through the heartbreak of like it's just not going up.
Yeah. I feel like I've already sort of like mentally prepared myself for that, to be honest. Like I'm on that road to sort of like knowing that it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, to be able to find that result, we need to play games, and at the moment, it's obviously proving difficult. Obviously, not just for us as well, for like everyone. I swear to God, Villa versus Arsenal is just not going to happen. Like it really keeps getting postponed all the time.
Yeah, like Arsenal's games just keep getting postponed. They're in the same boat as, like, I mean, a lot of the teams are in the same boat, but I think they've only played like once or twice since the beginning of the year and stuff. And, like, what does that do for their chances of like Champions League or even winning the league for this season? Do you know what I mean? It's the roll-on effect for like all teams. It's just like you just don't. No one knows what's going to happen. Everything's up in the air. Obviously, Birmingham vs Villa was postponed as well, and then
I think Sheffield's was as well.
Yeah, Sheffield's was, and I'm pretty sure they don't have a game now for like a month.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, they've
until
got
like the end of March.
Yeah, they've got like a really long break now in terms of when they next play. So like
that must be horrible.
Yeah, and for like them as well, like they're obviously going for promotion as well. Like it's second, not too far behind Leicester, don't think, or the third, aren't they? But yeah, they're still going for promotion. So it's like, well, if they've got a month off, whereas like I think pretty sure Dunham and Leicester played around the same weekends that we do. So if we all gain points, they're still waiting for theirs. Like it's just
weird, isn't it?
It is weird the way it works, but I mean, you can't help the weather. Do you see it as like a deeper issue in terms of women's matches getting postponed, or is it just the fact that things just haven't gone our way in terms of just the weather's just been poor and just not natural things that you just have no control over?
Yeah, I don't think you can place the blame on a frozen pitch other than like the weather. Do you know what I mean? Like the FA are not like invincible, or like the teams aren't invincible. Like frozen pitches happen all the time. You would have thought they'd come up with a better scientific solution. That's one thing. But yeah, no, I think it is mainly due to weather. Like you can't change what the weather's going to be like. It's that time of year, like it always happens in like the lower leagues of the men's as well. It's not obviously just the women's game. Yeah, but then I think maybe you do have to alternatively look at that and go, is there anything like the men's teams that can use a help? Can they offer a stadium if they're away? But then, I feel like I'm contradicting myself, but you can then flip it and go, well, is it going to be COVID safe? That's another thing that's got to come into it. Have you got things in there that everyone will know about? Obviously, on a match day at Anfield for the men, for example, everyone knows what they need to do, like where they go, where to be, how everything runs. But if at the last minute the women have to switch to there, do they have like the staff to be able to do that? Do they have like everything in place in order for that to be in line with the FA's guidelines sort of thing. So you can kind of see it from that point. But I think that there probably has to be a point where you say, yeah, okay, we probably need a little bit more help from the male counterpart team that is like associated with the women's team, because I don't think there's any reason why you can't. The interesting thing about the Birmingham one, which I read, is that beforehand they were offered, or there was an option to play the Villa game at St George's Park. I think it was something like £500, and they denied it. And then Villa contacted them and said, oh, we can play it at our pitch, and then they still denied it. So that's where it sort of, do you see what I mean? It sort of contradicts itself, because there's solutions there that haven't been followed through with. So it's really strange. I think the investment side is something I think we're always going to talk about, regardless of whether that's just Liverpool directed or clubs. I know obviously Bristol are struggling, Birmingham are struggling, the teams lower down the table who don't get that investment. So I think that question is always going to be there. But in recent cases, I think it just is a case of you cannot predict the weather. You cannot stop the weather from happening. But maybe there are small things you can do to get around it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, winter in England is no joke.
It's not a place I want to be.
No, absolutely not. There's a reason why people go away for Christmas.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that now.
Yeah, as you get older, you start to understand why. But yeah, literally, you literally can't help the weather. And obviously, I just think because it's happened so many times since the start of the year, people have just gotten frustrated with it. So they've started to ask other questions, like, is there alternatives? And like you said, it's not as easy of just the day of a game or the day before a game being like, oh, let's go and find a new stadium. Like you said, there's so many protocols that have to be put in place now that you're not going to be able to do it just like that. Obviously the Birmingham one's interesting. If something was already offered beforehand and they still said no, then that's obviously...
It's also the fact that it was cancelled 5 minutes before kickoff, so the players have warmed up on that pitch. The media have gotten there. Everything's also, in place.
Like unnecessary travel could have been avoided for those people who were, for example, media attending the game, the teams who were attending the game. It's unnecessary travel. That was, obviously, the pitch must have been okay if the team was warming up and the referees were warming up. You don't think 5 minutes before,
actually, no, we're not going to do this.
Actually, no, I don't want to. Like, it's just weird. It's
very
weird.
Odd.
But yeah, I think it's just one of those things that's just happens. You literally have no control over anything like that.
It'd be interesting to know what everyone else thinks on that.
Yeah.
Whether they actually think it is more of like a bigger issue than just it's the weather being unfortunate. Whether there's something more that people can do that we've not sort of thought about.
Also, it's going to be interesting how, like, when these, like, remaining fixtures are going to be played and how it's all going to be worked out schedule-wise.
At this rate, the season isn't going to finish till September and then we're into the new one again.
I know, literally, it's going to be like last year, isn't it? I don't know.
Gosh, no, not a chance. Not for me.
It's a no from us.
I know, imagine if this season got voided again.
Oh, mate. If it went on, like, points per game, I'd be like, oh, no. PPG haunts me.
Well, I don't think we'd get relegated again.
We wouldn't get no. That's the only positive. We won't be going down a tier again. But
it's actually really interesting though, because I was looking at our stats for this season so far, just like out of curiosity, because in my mind we've been awful, but we actually haven't been awful. We've just like not been.
We just haven't picked up enough points.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've actually got it written down. We've only actually lost. Oh, I've just thrown.
Is it we've only lost 3 games?
We have won 6 games, drawn 4, and only lost 3. So I mean, when you think about it, and we scored 22 goals and only conceded 12. So I mean, it's not awful, but I just think it's lower than what we were probably anticipating. That's why I feel like it's not been amazing or great. Yeah. And if you think of all the things that we've had influence us as well, like, jeez, it's like an episode of Curry.
Yeah, there's been some proper curveballs thrown our way the last like 12 months, hasn't there? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's a good point to make, to be honest. Because I think when we were on like FaceTime the other night, I was like, "Oh, we've actually lost like 3 games." Like, in my head, I feel like we've lost like 10.
I know, and to say we finished last season on 6 points and we're on 22 now, there's
Hey,
improvement.
yeah, we've gone up in the world.
So slightly.
Slightly, yeah. But yeah, like Amy said, let us know if you think there's anything else that could have been done in terms of, allowing games to continue and whatnot. I don't think it is. I think it was just.
I honestly love all the comments we get. We're starting to get quite a lot more comments, and I just sit and like read through them and like reply, like
It's really nice.
full on conversation. It's very nice.
Yeah,
So make
it's
sure you
good to
do.
get good to get some feedback and stuff like that. Let us know that people are actually like interested in what we say. We'll move on then. Obviously Alex Greenwood, obviously really good player for England and across numerous clubs over the last couple of years. Obviously she left Liverpool a couple of seasons ago to join Man United, which was like, there was a number of players who did that. Yeah, there's a number of players who did that.
We've been through some stuff, haven't we?
We really have. Obviously, she helped them get into the WSL. She then made the move to Lyon, which,
that was a shock.
But you can't blame a player for wanting to go there.
I mean, she won a Champions League.
She won a Champions League, so like fair play. But then she makes her way back to the WSL and signs for Manchester City. Now, if you look at Alex Greenwood's career, she's played for Everton, she's played for Liverpool, she's played for Man United, she's played for Lyon, and then she's played for Manchester City. Now, it was, I can't remember who she did the interview with, but
Telegraph, I think it was.
Was it the Telegraph?
Yeah.
She brought up the fact that, she had received some online abuse due to the fact that, she played for a couple of different clubs, a couple of rival clubs over the last couple of seasons. It's probably just more disappointing than anything to see someone targeted over trying to do the best thing for their career.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to look at it and be like, oh, she's played for both Merseyside teams, she's played for both Manchester teams and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, sometimes you don't know how long a women's player's career lasts, and she's got to take every good opportunity that's handed to her. And, you can't blame her for wanting to go abroad to the best team in the world to then come back. If Manchester City were the only team that offered a contract to come back to WSL and she wanted to, she's not going to turn that down, is she?
No, she'd be silly to. Thing is though, what I found quite interesting is she didn't necessarily speak out about receiving any sort of abuse once she left Liverpool for United or once she left Everton for Liverpool. I think that in itself sort of says a lot about how the women's game is sort of evolving, and how these like rivalries are actually starting to form with it. But I remember we spoke ages ago, I think it was to Kieran Tatham, about how we sort of viewed the rivalry between Liverpool and United. I think it was the first match that they would have ever played together in the WSL competitive environment. I think it was away at United, and we were sort of like, yeah, we definitely see it as a rivalry because of the names, but like I don't see it as much as a rivalry as I would have done if it was Liverpool men versus United men.
Yeah,
it was a different sort of feeling, and I think maybe especially over this last season and a half, I think you can sort of see how much it's changed in terms of there is definitely more of rivalry forming into how it is in the men's. Which is both a positive, but then it can also be a negative. The women's game has been so, I want to say the word nice. I know it's not a very exciting word, but nice, almost quite friendly. Obviously, you want to win, but you're not going to hurl abuse at the other fan base if you don't win or someone makes a bad challenge or whatever. That was never sort of the way it was. But more recently, you kind of see a little bit more of that on social media. You see a little bit more aggravation from each side, and I'm all there for the competitive rivalry, don't get me wrong. I think that's what makes football sometimes, but I think especially when a player's now come out and said she was genuinely like verbally abused on social media because of switching alliances, I don't think I would have thought at that point when we spoke to him in that interview that would happen. I didn't see that coming at all. But now it's obviously here. I don't know whether it's something that works with the women's game. I don't know whether it's something that complements it well at all. Probably the opposite. It's just finding that balance between having rivalry but then not overstepping that sort of mark and sort of hurting someone in the process. Like, these players are role models. They've got thousands and thousands of followers on social media, and they're sort of open to growing the game through that, but then obviously they're receiving this backlash at the same time, so it must be super difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you bring that interrupt that we did with Kane, because I remember saying in it, like what you've just said, like you kind of don't feel the same way, and that's probably because like you hadn't had like a Liverpool versus Manchester like women's derby in so long, and I don't think like we'd ever experienced one. But then my feelings on that changed after that game.
Yeah.
Whether you were the same, like I came out to it being like, oh, like obviously we got beat and stuff like that. It was horrible and whatnot. But I don't know, like, yeah, I kind of agree. Just I don't like seeing that side, even in the men's game. Like, I don't like players, like people giving abuse to people. I just don't see what you're gaining from it. I just don't understand why.
Other than hurting someone's feelings.
Yeah. I don't understand why you wanna what you get from that. What you get from giving someone abuse over something, like.
Especially now, the topic of mental health is probably like the loudest that it's ever been. In terms of like everyone seems to be a lot more like aware of it and activating with it to promote it, etc., and to sort of just say to people, be a little bit more kinder with what you're saying, and to then on the opposite hand have that sort of negativity grow a little bit more within the sport. Did you see the little tweet Girls on the Ball put out, a plea to be a bit kinder? I think they summed it up absolutely perfectly in terms of, look, we're all about having rivalries, we're all about growing the game in that way, because ultimately the game goes because of these giant fixtures against rivals, but equally sort of remember that it is different sort of to men's, and it's not really a place for that sort of negativity. But if no one's seen it, definitely go and look at it, because they worded it like perfectly.
Yeah, and I think a lot of like players and stuff like that were like really on board with what they said as well, because like I said, I just don't see the purpose of it. Like, and like everyone's saying, you're all for a rivalry, and you're all for, obviously in the heat of the moment, being like, oh, blah blah blah. But the fact that you've gone out your way to target someone just to give them abuse over the fact that they've signed for a new team, like, get over it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's what happens in football. Players move all the time. Like, because imagine you're a NWSL fan. Those players move every season. Right, to get traded left, right, and centre for all them, so you wouldn't even be able to keep up. So, but yeah, just everyone should be a little bit kinder. Obviously, just no.
If you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Finally, UEFA Women's Champions League draw for the round of 16 was done this morning. We're filming this on Tuesday, the 16th of February. Some interesting fixtures. Obviously,
there is
Man City and Chelsea, the only two English teams in the competition. They've both done relatively okay the last couple of times they've been in the Champions League, but it was interesting to see who they were going to be drawn against. But Chelsea got Atletico Madrid, which will be a really interesting game. Manchester City got Fiorentina. It's interesting now, obviously, because with the Champions League returning, COVID still being the way it is, a lot of countries being like, no, you're not allowed to come in. Obviously, Liverpool men play tonight for us. Their game's being played in Budapest because you can't actually go to Germany for travel and whatnot. And and it'll be the exact same for the women's teams. It was Molly Hudson on Twitter this morning saying that UEFA have like anticipated the same problems for the Women's Champions League as they have done with.
Could you try again?
Oh, hello.
Hi Siri.
Do you want to join?
Sorry about that. Yeah, UEFA have anticipated the same problems for the Women's Champions League as they have done for the men's. So obviously there's going to be things put in place, but like backup venues and stuff like that have been put into place. But I just wanted to ask, what is like your opinion on like neutral venues? Do you think it makes that much of a difference, especially now considering that fans aren't allowed in stadiums? There's no crowds. Like at the end of the day, you're just playing football on a pitch.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it makes that much difference at all, to be honest. Especially, it probably makes more difference to the team who would have been playing at home. Probably would make more difference to them. I mean,
more just like a home comfort type of thing.
Yeah, so if you're like comparing it to the men's game this evening, Liverpool are travelling anyways. So I don't think it matters whether they're travelling to Germany or whether they're travelling to Hungary. Do you know what I mean? What stadium they're playing at. They're not playing at home, which is the only thing that sort of matters to them. It doesn't matter where else.
Yeah.
Whereas Leipzig are supposedly the home side, but they're not playing at home. They're having to go somewhere else. So I don't know. I think with fans not in at the moment, it doesn't feel like it's a home or away game. Like it's still like anything can happen. So I don't think it matters too much. But it's more just teams knowing what they're doing so they can prepare. I think that's probably the biggest thing. For them to know where they're going, when they need to go, blah blah blah, things like that. But I'm sure that's all easily sort of sorted out. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of them have to change. Obviously, the German teams look like most of them are travelling anyways.
Yeah.
Wolfsburg aren't, so that's probably going to get moved, isn't it?
Probably.
So yeah, you don't know. But I mean, both teams in the UK are at home, so that's a positive for them, especially with the WSL title race being so intense as well.
Yeah.
No travel is probably good for them. Less risk of COVID, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and then I think like the return fixtures are like the second week in March, I want to say, or maybe April. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. I really can't. But like things could be different in terms of travel and stuff like that. At that point, you literally don't know what's gonna happen. But like, what do you reckon are the chances of City and Chelsea getting far this season? I think they've got a really good chance of getting.
I think they've got a very good chance. I think Chelsea have obviously got the harder fixture against Bayern, against Atletico. Sorry, I just saw the Bayern flag and just completely got myself confused. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna come up against Lyon, that's going to be extremely difficult. But I mean, someone's going to have to face them. They're probably going to get to the final. Let's be honest. But I think those teams.
Can they do it for the sixth time?
Probably
on the bounce.
I don't deny that, to be honest. But I think maybe Man City have a better chance just because of their experience of players in there actually winning it. Obviously, Lucy Bronze, Alex Greenwood, all them. And they're just on fire at the moment. I think
their squad depth probably helps them more as well.
Probably, yeah. It just depends on what the two teams are focusing on. Are they focusing more on winning the league, or are they focusing more on winning?
I reckon Chelsea really want the Champions League. I think
it's what the priority is, isn't it? Really, you might see in terms of team strength on who really wants it and who wants it, but also really wants the league more, probably.
Yeah, I mean, they can definitely go on and win both. Both of them teams can. I wouldn't put it past them.
Do the double.
Do the double, yeah. But
would it be a treble at all?
What other cups? Has there been any other cups this season?
Who's playing Bristol City in the final of the thingy cup?
City, innit?
Oh, so it could be the treble.
They could get the treble. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah.
That'll be fun.
No, but yeah, I wouldn't put it past one of them to be getting far in the competition. But
no,
some really good teams left in there: PSG, Wolfsburg, Barcelona. You know, there's a lot of
I
them,
wish we
so
were in the Champions League. That would be fun.
imagine.
I think we're a
One
bit of a
day.
long way off that one.
One day. We'll
Just
be
the
there
FA,
one
just
day.
the FA Cup for now would be good. You know what I mean? All the
Nice little
conti.
cup run would be nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Soon.
But yeah,
Soon.
hopefully, fingers crossed, next couple of years. We get ourselves together. We'll be alright.
I know. Get it together and go again. We go again.
We go again. We move.
You know.
But yeah, let us know in the comments below. Out of all those fixtures there, have you seen them? Who you
Let
think's gonna get through?
me know what your favourite fruit is.
Okay. If you've watched this far, let Amy know what your favourite fruit is. I was saying last night, I think strawberries are very overrated.
No, I do like it. What was chocolate strawberries though?
Feels
Strawberries
like
on your
thing.
pancakes an essential. Happy Pancake Day, everyone! By the way,
Oh yeah.
have you had any yet?
No, I
I
haven't.
mean, I think we're
Might
having
have
them
some now.
after tea.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let us know what's your best pancake toppings then?
There we go. Even better question.
Yeah,
Even
let
better
us know.
question.
We've asked so many questions.
Wow.
Let us know all your answers below.
Wow.
But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. No fixture this weekend, so there'll be no post-match stuff. But we might do some quizzes and some social media stuff. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time with a new podcast.
Bye.